What's up, you guys? It's draft week, and I know y'all are wondering, where the heck am I? This is not the couch that I'm usually on or the background. Well, I'm in New York. That's where I am. I'm in New York, and currently it is 8:16 a.m. when I am recording this. So it hasn't even been 24 hours since the NBA draft, especially like that first round and everything that was there. I was there covering it, and it was amazing. Walk us through the fit. Walk us through it.
It's a family piece, man. It's a family piece. All the colors out here, you see, it's my family, birthstone. You know, so see the back as well. And obviously the ice, then the chain. It's just all family. You know, that's kind of how I wanted to see. Just basically the tree right here, the roots, and just all my family building to who I am today.
If you could rate your fit right now,
Oh, 10. Broke my skill, for sure. Broke my skill.
But I got out super late, so I didn't have time to come and record immediately after. It was pretty much like 1 o'clock. But we're here. We're here, and we're going to talk about some of the draft picks that I really, really liked, and just why I think certain teams did a really good job, and kind of some of the grades I saw from some of the picks. Not all the picks, but some of the picks. We're going to talk about Victor Wembanyama. We're going to talk about, how some people feel strongly about that 2 and 3 pick. We're going to talk about a few picks. But we're in New York. So this is draft edition. Trust me, we are going to talk about all the trade talks that have been happening. It has been crazy in the NBA. But I want to give these draftees their moment, their time to shine. And that's why I'm in this bed all cozy, because I was exhausted from yesterday. And it was so much fun and it was so amazing. But it's just, it's a lot when you're trying to make sure you're getting all this stuff out for these draftees to have their moments and their families and just being in the moment. But now we're here and I'm in the bed chilling right now, and we're going to talk about some of these picks. Number 1, of course, was Victor Wembanyama. He went to the San Antonio Spurs. Some say he's 7'5" with shoes. The NBA has him listed 7'4". 237 pounds is what the NBA.com website is saying. Seeing him in person, I've never seen anything like him before. In terms of height, his build, his stature, very elusive. He doesn't seem stiff. When you watch his tape, obviously he moves like way more swiftly than you would think because of his height, right? They have him listed as a center. I don't even know if he'll really be playing center, but again, I'm sure the San Antonio Spurs will figure that out. They're the best place for him to be, honestly. Seeing his emotion, saying how it's just been a long time for this to happen with his family there. Obviously, it's a big move for him. To be from France and then now you have to pack up and leave and now go to San Antonio. That is a tall task to ask of any person. So, but well-deserved to him. The crowd was crazy waiting for the pick to come in. I don't even think it took the San Antonio Spurs long. I thought it was going to take them like 20 seconds. You already knew you were going to take Victor Wembanyama. And San Antonio Spurs fans did not disappoint. They were in the building. They were there, loud and proud. And it was an amazing experience to see him, just get up, hug his family, get that call. And, you could tell he was waiting on it. So, all congrats to all the draftees. And, of course, Victor Wembanyama. Now, the 2 and 3 spot is what I've been really excited to talk about, because before the draft, I said that, to me, I'm not speaking on if Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson, one is better than the other. To me, that was not the argument to me. It was more so, for the Charlotte Hornets, you really don't need, technically, a player like Scoot Henderson, because I don't think he fits the ecosystem of what they already have. I think the best situation in terms of just what I've seen from Scoot Henderson's tape, his development, his maturity, his build, his skill set, that the Portland Trailblazers were going to be a way better pick for him developmental-wise, organization-wise, the roster. He would have other guards that would be able to help him, especially if Dame stays. But that's a better situation to me than the Charlotte Hornets for him. So I already felt like Brandon Miller at 2 to Charlotte Hornets made a lot more sense. That's really what they needed. Spacing more of the floor out, having another shooter there and a scorer. I didn't think a guard was necessary. So the Charlotte Hornets took Brandon Miller at 2. I like that pick. I thought it made sense. I think he adds a lot more, like I said, length to the floor for them, spacing as well, a defensive presence as well. So I think that made sense. Portland Trailblazers at 3, taking Scoot Henderson was perfect. The question now is, does Dame stay? Scoot, after he got drafted, said in his post-conference that he feels like their 2 games combined could really be unstoppable, that he wants Dame to stay. He wants him there. He wants to learn from him. He wants to play with him and just really be able to collaborate with each other on the floor. I don't know if that's enough to make Dame stay. I think it's obvious now he's at the point of, okay, I have championship urgencies. I don't need it right now, but I do want it. So if Dame stays, I think this helps a lot, but I don't know if it's enough. What do you do with everything else that you need to build around this entire situation? But we're going to see if Dame does decide to leave and they get to build this roster in a different way. Scoot Henderson is, I think, the perfect fit if you lose Damian Lillard. Like, it's, to me, that was the best situation. Again, some people are like, no, he should have went 2. I get it, but when you're looking at the organization and these teams and the structure of what they kind of need on the roster, how these players fit personality-wise, kind of just how they've trained and what they're looking like, this really was the best possible outcome for, I think, Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson. So congrats to them. The Thompson twins, like Asar and Amen Thompson, like Houston Rockets, Detroit Pistons, back-to-back, 4 and 5, the first twins ever, brothers, to go back-to-back like that. It's interesting because Asar wasn't up there to be at 5 before. He was kind of around that 10-11. And for that jump to happen, it wasn't surprising to me because both are amazing. But it was interesting, right? And obviously, that's amazing. That's the biggest flex. To do this thing with your brother, you have never been alone. He's been there since y'all were in the womb. And then to go 4 and 5, that's just a beautiful feeling. Like, I'm sure their families were like, oh, great. Like, like that to me is the biggest blessing for them. You've been on this journey together, and their story of how they've really been training for this really their whole lives, moving away from their family and dedicating this thing to this. To me, it makes sense. Houston Rockets, Detroit Pistons, especially for the Detroit Pistons, I really like it. For the Houston Rockets, I expect them to keep adding young talent, which they added Cam Whitmore as well with that. Let's see what pick he was. He was the 20th pick. So it makes sense. More shooters, more length on the floor. Now I think the question is, do you need a veteran there? Do you need someone who kind of has a little bit more miles on them in terms of just the NBA to kind of balance this thing out? They're just very young. But Ime Udoka is the coach. I think he's the right coach for them to be able to get these young guys to buy in. You saw what he did with the Boston Celtics in just that one season. I could just imagine what he could do with the Houston Rockets with multiple seasons. So I think that's going to be fun to watch. The Detroit Pistons, more young talent on that team as well, but I think they have a solid core. And then you have an amazing coach in Monty Williams that will be there, which is another perfect guy and a perfect coach to be able to coach a young core and to dedicate himself to it. So congrats to both of them as well. The Orlando Magic took Anthony Black. I like it. It's a little guard heavy. The question that presents itself is, are you able to keep Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony? Because if you're bringing Anthony Black, I'm under the impression that one may not be staying, or you have a great plan for how all 3 of them work in unison. Who's coming off the bench? How does this work, right? I'm interested to see what the Orlando Magic do with this. Again, young team. They had the number 1 pick last year with Paolo Banchero. Obviously, that has worked out for him as well. Rookie of the year, played amazing. But Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony have struggled, but I think Cole Anthony is very polished. I think he understands his role. He wants to do the best for the team. I don't think he's into the politics of it all. He's into just the work of it all. I expect him to actually have a really great season this year. I'm just trying to see how does Anthony Black fit in this when you have so many guards. So, great pick, but how do you fit this into the team? Do you keep all these guards? That's a lot of guards come off the bench as well. I don't know. I want to see what they do. Pacers took Kubali from France as well, but he was traded to Washington. So the Pacers and the Wizards had a trade, so he actually will be going to the Wizards, and then Walker will be going to the Pacers. And again, great picks for both of them. The Wizards, I'm still trying to figure out what they're trying to do, but they've gotten some assets. Now they have Jordan Poole. Where did that come from? Again, we'll talk about that at another time. But to add Kubali, and Victor Wembanyama said it. He was like, people just don't know, like, he's bigger than what he looks like. He's smooth on the court. He's able to get to the basket. I saw some of his tape. He can shoot the ball. He's really explosive to the rim. I think that's going to be fun to see. They have him listed as a forward. So I think he brings some youthful energy to the Wizards with everything in these moving pieces of what they're trying to do. The Jazz took Taylor Hendricks. Dallas Mavericks had a trade with OKC. So Wallace will go to OKC. And then the Orlando Magic also came around at 11 and took Jet Howard, which was another shocker for some people because in the mock drafts, he was a little bit lower, kind of in that 15-20 area. And boom, the Orlando Magic was like, nah, we want him. And that's interesting because he had a really, really good season at Michigan. They have him listed at 6'8", 215. He has some depth to the floor. Again, more spacing for them as well, some more length, some more shooting ability and getting to the rim. I think, again, most of these teams are always going to have young cores because of them being high in the draft so many times, like the Magic, the Rockets, the Detroit Pistons. So it just depends on how are you going to cultivate all of that. OKC at 12, trade that to Dallas for Lively. The second, I think that's a good pick. Gives them more length, more height as well. I don't think they need scoring ability, but you need rim protectors. And Lively gives you exactly that. You need someone who's able to move. He's also said in his post-conference that he wasn't able to just showcase every single set of skills he had at Duke because obviously it's a system. He was like, I have so many more skills to me. His ability to shoot, he says, get to the rim. So he's versatile. So I think this works for Dallas working with Luka. If Kyrie stays, it adds some more. Toronto Raptors took Grady Dick. He said that he's excited to get there. He wore a red outfit, and he explained to us on the red carpet that it was inspired really from the Wizard of Oz and that he's from Kansas, Dorothy's from Kansas, and basically the jacket resembles her red slippers. All right, walk us through the fit.
So shout out Dolce & Gabbana and Christian Louboutin for putting it together, but kind of the backstory is I'm from Kansas, and then you got the Wizard of Oz with Dorothy and her red slippers, so I kind of put that into the jacket, I guess.
Can we see the chain?
The logo, GD logo.
What you rating the fit 1 through 10 right now?
11. I'm just being goofy in myself, so people are gonna think I'm crazy, but I mean, kind of the mentality was I'm gonna wear this suit probably once in my entire life, so I might as well just go all out.
I liked it. Some people were confused by it. It made sense to me. He said he had no idea that he was going to end up at Toronto, but obviously the jacket worked. Perfect fit for him. He loves their coaching style, the system of what he can add to it. Fred VanVleet, I don't think is going to be there, so it's going to be kind of interesting if he comes back, what that may be, what that case is, but I think Grady Dick adds even more shooting ability to them. It's a good fit for them. The New Orleans Pelicans at 14 took Jordan Hawkins, meaning he will only be about an hour and a half away from his cousin Angel Reese now, who's in Baton Rouge. That's really good too. He adds height. He adds shot-making ability, which I think the Pelicans kind of struggled with during that playoff play-in and everything. They struggled with that. They really needed some more shooting ability, and I think it fits with their young core. You have Trey Murphy. You have Zion Williamson. If I'm sure they're going to be keeping him, Brandon Ingram. They have some good picks, some good things to build around this, and I think he's a good fit because this isn't a necessity for him to start right away. He can wait a while or whatever the need is, but I think he does come immediately and give them shooting ability to add. He's a sharpshooter. He went to UConn, national champion. He had an amazing season in just his freshman year. Very great guy. He's ready to work. You saw the emotion that was just on his face and everything. So it's going to be fun to see what the Pelicans are able to do with Jordan Hawkins and implementing him into the system, having him be a shooter. It's going to be fun to watch. Hi, Jordan. Can you just walk me through your emotions of just hearing your name called and being with your family and just getting up there? Just kind of what are you going through right now?
A whole bunch of emotions. I told somebody I was gonna cry, but I wimped out. So it was a really cool experience.
Atlanta Hawks took Kobe Buffkin. Utah Jazz took Keontae George. Some people were kind of shocked at Keontae George going at 16. He was a little higher in mock drafts, but I think this is a good fit for the Utah Jazz too. They need a guard. I think he's explosive. He's crafty. He's smooth. This makes sense. I'm going to keep saying that a lot for a lot of these teams. It makes sense what they're trying to get. And I think going forward, the Utah Jazz, they have a lot of length and they got a lot of height. So it's like, okay, we need guard play. We need to add some more to this, even if it's him playing immediately or coming off the bench. I'm sure he'll work his way into the lineup with no time. And I think this was good for them. Los Angeles Lakers at 17 took Jalen Hood-Schifino. I think Darvin Ham is looking at Jalen Hood-Schifino as a developmental project. Not saying that he needs all this help, but I think he's going to try to do something similar to just how Austin Reeves matriculated and developed and matured throughout these seasons of just being a very dependable, consistent player, shooting, getting to the basket, playing defense. I think for Jalen Hood-Schifino, he's an even better shooter coming from Indiana. So the developmental process for him is going to be even probably faster just because he'll catch on. Now it's just the speed of it, finding ways to get on the floor and stay on the floor with defensive presence as a rookie. I'm sure that Darvin Ham is going to try to implement him early as well, get his chops going, get some reps. And I think he fits for them as well. The Lakers need shooting. They need youthful energy, and that's a good pick. You had Miami at 18 with Jaquez Jr., and then Golden State Warriors at 19 taking Brandon from Santa Clara. That was really fun. Great story of how he was in Atlanta literally a couple days and got the call that he was invited to the green room to be there. And then him being there, and then Golden State takes him. They feel like he's everything that they want in a person on the player. 1, 2, 3. The Golden State Warriors at 19 took Brandon from Santa Clara. It was amazing to talk to him because just a few days before that, he said he was in Atlanta. And that he had got the invite to come to the green room. So it was all kind of fast for him, had his family there. The Golden State Warriors said that seeing him practice, his workout with them, that they loved everything that he had as a player and as a person. They feel like he could come right in and really make an impact for them. For him, he doesn't even have to move that far. He's already there, right? So that's really amazing. His story and everything, newcomer of the year, just how he's been hooping. I know a lot of people aren't familiar with his game, but I'm sure that they will be when it's all said and done. Go look at some of his highlights. A really crafty guard, 6'5". He's able to do a lot of things, shoot mid-range, get to the basket, play defense. Very similar to Dante DiVincenzo that you saw with the Warriors and kind of how they implement that. You know, you're going to be guarding a lot of those players, and that's pretty much, I think, the landscape of what they plan to do with Brandon. Houston Rockets at 20, Cam Whitmore. Some people were saying that, you know, they were shocked that he fell this far. There was some speculation that some of the interviews just didn't go as great in his favor. So maybe that's why certain teams just didn't feel like they connected or understood it all. But from Villanova, a forward, straight up a baller, a hooper, aggressive, plays defense, basket, shoots. Like it was interesting that he went to 20, but to the Houston Rockets, it makes a lot of sense. That's a good fit as well. He adds a lot to that team as well with just what they've added throughout this draft and what they will continue to add. Cam Whitmore's game really fits what I'm sure Ime Udoka is going to be wanting to do with this team going forward. And this depends on a lot of factors. If, you know, is James Harden going to Houston? Are these trade assets? Like what's the whole plan. But for Cam Whitmore, going to Houston is really good. I won't go through all of everything, but the first round was something fun to see. The second round, obviously, is going to be happening throughout. And then I guess, like, I'm going to look at a few of these second rounders, actually, because I wanted to see where the Charlotte Hornets took Amari Bailey at 41. That makes sense. And this is why, and someone's going to say, well, you said they didn't need a guard. They didn't need necessarily a Scoot Henderson because he's a ball-dominant guard. That is someone who's starting immediately. That's not a come off the bench, work your way into that. He's starting immediately. Amari Bailey is someone that I can see the Charlotte Hornets saying, okay, you're not going to start immediately, but we're going to work you into this. You're going to get great minutes off this bench. That makes sense. Like, that's not urgent, hey, you come in, we're going to rebuild. Nah. Like this, that works. That's a good pick of a guard that they need, especially with LaMelo, with injuries, with things of that nature. Amari Bailey will find himself in the lineup with no issues and no problems. Jalen Wilson, Brooklyn Nets took him from Kansas. I like that pick as well. Kansas, I tell you, they're out here trying to get it. Imani Bates, Cleveland Cavaliers took him at 49. I like that. I like that for the Cavs. This is good. Imani Bates to Cleveland is a really, really good pick. That is really good because they need height and shooting ability. They needed to add some more. Again, that's a you don't have to start immediately situation. That's a developmental thing. He's going to be great once he really gets into his rhythm and flow. Obviously, getting just acquainted with the NBA speed and how I think his game really does translate to it. He's 6'9", 190 pounds. We've seen him play. They have him listed as a guard. So that's going to work in Cleveland's favor going down the stretch. Again, draft week has always been fun because you see a lot of these guys, like, they're young. Their life is about to change. They're sitting there like, everything I've been working for is literally about to happen. I liked how this year the NBA draft, the last few years they have introducing them one by one and they walk like their family, their dad or their mom or grandparents or sister, aunt, whoever they choose. This year, they said, okay, we're going to do something different. We're going to give y'all longer tables because I'm used to the round tables. No round tables this time. Longer tables. And everyone stand at their table with their entire family. Now you don't have to just invite two, invite the whole fam. And we'll pan to you each one by one while you hold the gold basketball and we introduce you with your family in the background. I thought that was great. I hope they keep that. It was really fun. Like, that added a whole nother element. I think it allowed us to see more of the players and just have more time to understand their family dynamics and everything that they have went through to get to this moment. It was a great layout. I think it went smoothly. The energy in Barclays Center was amazing. The fans do not disappoint whatsoever at all. None. And it's crazy. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a funny story. I'm sitting in one of the seats, kind of in the lodge area, right, where media is. And this guy who's a Portland Trailblazers fan, he comes in and he's like huffing and puffing, right? He has like a backpack and everything. He sits down and he looks at us and he's like, they took my sign. So he's tight. He's tight about his sign getting took. He's like, oh, they took my sign. So me and like two of my colleagues were like, oh, okay. Like, he's like, nah, but it's all right though. Like, I got my jersey. So he got another jersey in his hand. He has a jersey on. He has a Portland Trailblazers jersey on. So he's like, keep in mind, we're in the lodge, but behind us, ESPN is filming. So, obviously, if you get up, you're pretty much in their shot. And he's like trying to figure out a way to get in the middle. So I'm like, man, like, this is why they took his sign, right? Because he was gonna cut up. But he looks at us. He's like, I'm gonna still get the job done. So I'm like, what's the job? So he asked the guy in the middle. He's like, hey, yo, my man, you care if I sit right there? The man like, nah. So he like, all right, cool. He walks, sits. I kid you not. We're walking out to go to the press conferences. I'm on Twitter casually scrolling. I am not looking for this. I want y'all to understand this. I did not type in Portland Trailblazers Gaia draft, none of that. I am literally scrolling. Why does he pop up on my timeline? He made it on ESPN. He stood up and he put the jersey he had on, because they took his sign. The jersey said trade Dame on the back. And literally someone snapped the picture of him standing up on ESPN, live national television, with that on. What? He said he was going to get the job done. I guess that's why they took his sign. But he said, you know what? I got a jersey with the same message. It was the funniest, craziest thing. And then the person who tweeted it was like, not this man got this jersey on saying this on live national television. Like, he's not talking or anything. It's literally just the back of the jersey. A+ for execution, because he did it. And then he did it so subtly, because I'm thinking like, oh, he's finna get loud in here. No, he just stood up. He just stood up. I don't know if he did anything else, but that's all I saw. And it was pretty funny. So shout out to that guy, because he did what he needed to do, I guess. He got his message across. That's what he wanted. Other than that, the draft was amazing. Again, seeing these guys, just their dreams come true. Anytime you see anyone's dreams come true, you really feel for them, especially these families. And it takes a lot to accomplish greatness. It takes a lot to accomplish big goals. It takes a lot to accomplish this, to accomplish anything at that. But in the athletic standpoint of just drafts, and, you know, it takes a lot of sacrifice, takes a lot of hard work, takes a lot of understanding and accepting the unknown. For them, they've been able to control a lot of their basketball career throughout their lives. You pick where you go to high school, you pick where you go to college, you pick your trainer, you pick when you want to work out. You know, you've had control of where it means where you land. And for this, they have no control of where they're going to go and start a new life and, you know, grow up in even more ways as a professional and as a person. So it's going to be exciting with this draft class to see their potential and how they meet expectations throughout their rookie years. It's going to be fun to follow, because I think it's going to be, I like this rookie class. You know, at first, you know, I kind of was like, I don't know if we have any heavy hitters. But the more I started to really introduce myself to this class, do the research and watch some of their films, I was like, this class is actually pretty impressive, just in terms of their skill set. Their skill set is really there. And I think it's going to be really, really fun to watch them develop throughout this rookie season and throughout their careers, because they have a high ceiling. They have a high ceiling. And a lot of them, this is something that I've noticed, a lot of them have been preparing to be pros. You had the Thompson twins, who went to Overtime Elite, bypassed college. Scoot Henderson went to G League Ignite, bypass college. Victor Wembanyama's pretty much been a professional since he was like 15, you know, didn't do college. So a lot of these guys have really already gotten themselves acquainted with the professional life of not having class, working out, having time to really do whatever you want, and choosing with that time to work out or watch film. So I'm sure for some of them, their transition is going to be even easier, because some of them have already moved and had to do those things. So that's what I've noticed with this draft class. A lot of them have already kind of been prepared to go to the NBA and to be a pro. So it's going to be cool to see. I'm excited for all of them. It was really fun being there and just seeing their reactions of getting your name called. You know, like a lot of them say, you dream of this your whole life. You only get one. You get one draft, and to get your name called, put the hat on, walk up there, shake the commissioner's hand, and then sit with your family and see and celebrate all the hard work for what you've done up until this point. It's truly amazing, and it's inspiring for all of us. So congrats to all the draftees. Well deserved, well earned. I'm wishing you all an amazing, amazing rookie season, and an amazing career at that. Hope you have fun. Hope you enjoy it. Hope, you know, you have good vets in your locker room that are going to teach you things. And I'm excited to see what some of these rookie duties are for a lot of them. I'm excited to see how the rookie of the year race starts to look. And just, I'm ready to see some rookies that we didn't expect to have great seasons, that say didn't go in the first round, that just shock us all and are just household names immediately. So again, congrats to all the draftees in the 2023 NBA draft and their families. Amazing accomplishment. It was so fun to cover the entire draft.
Okay, you guys, I am covering the NBA draft right now, so we will talk about CP3 ending up on the Warriors and Jordan Poole getting traded later. We're going to talk about it tomorrow, but for right now, we're at the draft. So let's see, who's going number one?
I am excited to talk to you about all the trade talks. We have a lot to talk about, and we're not going to talk about it in this video like I said earlier. That's another video. That's a separate video. I kind of just want to wait to see what else happens throughout the next few days and next week before we talk about it, but next week we will be talking about it. The Boston Celtics getting Porzingis, trading Marcus Smart to Memphis. Tyus Jones leaves Memphis. That's something to talk about. The Golden State Warriors now having Chris Paul and then trading Jordan Poole to the Wizards. Bradley Beal to Phoenix with D-Book and Kevin Durant. We still don't know what Damian Lillard is going to do, so we're all anticipating. Draymond Green has declined his player option, so he's technically a free agent. What does that look like? Will he be staying? Will he be going? There's a lot. There's a lot of moving factors of this. Does James Harden stay in Philly, or is he going back to Houston? Like, it's actually insane. It's actually insane. And I'm excited to talk about it. Throughout draft week, I'm looking at my phone like, what the heck is going on? Like, how is this even possible? How, like, why and how? I have concerns and comments about the Boston Celtics getting Porzingis. I know Boston fans are very happy about that. I'm skeptical. I'm interested in the Warriors getting CP3 and how does that help the roster in terms of age, and they like to play really fast, and his pace of a guard is a little bit slower just in how he plays. Not saying he's a slow player, but how he plays is very much to get the offense going. But he also is one of the basketball geniuses that we see on the floor, a true point guard with his basketball IQ. I can only imagine the things that he's going to be able to do on that floor with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and getting them exactly in their spots in even a whole different way. And now it's wondering, does Draymond Green come back? How does that look? Jordan Poole to the Washington Wizards. I need to look at the Washington Wizards roster now because it looks so different. That's something to talk about. I don't know. The NBA has been just nuts, and they were doing it on draft week. How fitting. Bradley Beal to Phoenix. I didn't see that coming. I'm still trying to see if the Miami Heat can pull off getting Damian Lillard. I don't know, but trust me, we're going to talk about it when I get back to LA and get on my couch in my living room and we talk about all the trade talks that have happened this week and I'm sure are going to continue to happen before I even post and record that video. So we have a lot to talk about in the NBA, but I will be seeing you guys next week. And comment, like, subscribe, share on all platforms. I appreciate you all that take time to watch. I appreciate you all that have subscribed and, you know, are just with me on Talking Hoops all the time. And I love it. I love it. Please, like, comment to me. I love to talk about and debate anything you think. Do you think Brandon Miller going at 2 made sense? Do you think Scoot going to Portland made sense? How do you feel about Victor Wembanyama? I want to talk about all draft things, so please do. And I'll be seeing you guys next week.